Welcome to Fourth and Goal. College football is changing as we know it. The sports world is rocking and rolling. So grab a glass, put the game on mute, and take a listen.
Let's do this. Man, you almost bricked that one just like KD in the Olympics.
That was not that bad. Welcome to Fourth Dram and Goal. You are here with your host, Kurt, and my boy, Dick.
What's up, Drammers?
We're going to do what we do. We've got our glasses of whiskey here. We've got the world of sports, and we're going to talk everything and anything about them with y'all. We've got a whole shebang of things. We had a championship crown. We've had gold medalist crowns. We've got some golden rings. We've got gold everything. All right. We even got a new name in the baseball world. So before we get into all of that, Dick, please lay the socials on them.
Man, I'm just going to call you John Gotti with all that gold on you. But I tell you what, man, as far as the socials go, we've got all the socials, man. So hit us up on Instagram at 4th Dram, 4th Dram. Same thing with Twitter. You can always hit us up old school on Facebook, 4th Dram and Goal. And then we're always open via email, 4th Dram and Goal, all one word, at gmail.com. Shoot us an email. Let us know what's going on. Questions, thoughts. You want to be on the show? We want to hear from you. We need your feedback, and we want to get better. So right back to Kurt. Let's talk about what we're going to talk about tonight.
Everything. And just to set you up, there is so much football to talk about, but we are going to save that for our kickoff special, which will be probably within the next 2 weeks. So we won't talk too much Aaron Rodgers right now. We won't talk too much Deshaun Watson. We may chime in a little bit, but we're going to save all that because we're going to have a whole show about football coming up. And, of course, the shows will come closer and closer together as it'll be back to a week-to-week thing. But – Dick, you are my good friend, and I do care about other things. It's been a while. What have you been up to, man?
Man, I tell you what, it's been a lot of travel. Been trying to get, as much travel in. We got my COVID shot, trying to avoid this Delta variant like a motherfucker. But I just got back from New York, and that's why I had to make the John Gotti reference.
I was wondering.
I hadn't been in New York City before. There. I was doing my thing. Flexing a little bit. But I just got back from New York City, dude. I've never been in my life. We got to go up there in New Jersey for our friend. And it was a really cool experience. Got to spend like 5-6 hours in New York, run around, doing the classic stuff. Central Park, Empire State Building, Penn Station, grab a slice, grab a dog. Was it, snap some photos.
Was it full on? Like, is it back to a lot of people or is it still?
No, really? Man. Like, we literally walked in out of Penn Station. We walked up the street. We went to Times Square and we walked into Times Square. And I was like, they're like, oh, this is Times Square, our friends. And I was like, this is Times Square? Like, there's nobody here. It was like,
did you see the naked cowboy?
It was like 7 dudes in it was like 7 dudes in Iron Man costumes and 1 Captain America and like 2 Mickey Mouses. It was weird. Like, there was just not that many people. The weirdest thing I saw was later in the day going down 5th Avenue, some dude just riding a bike with one wheel, the front wheel removed, just on a wheelie, just like he was cruising down the road. Like, that's how he got around to work every day.
So,
some wild stuff.
But work every day, but
yeah, missing one wheel.
Pizza,
dude, pizza was legit. Got this place called Bravo's, right there on I think it was 7th Avenue. And I think it was like 7th and 32nd or somewhere around there. And then got to walk up down 5th Avenue, see all the stores, shot you a pic of, I think it was the NBA store, right? And then biggest surprise, man, did you know that Five Below has a 5th Avenue store?
Five Below is...
Five Below, like the dollar store, but like a little bit classier. How do you not know what Five Below, man? You got kids?
I don't.
Oh, dude, you're killing me. Five Below. It's like dollar store, but like everything's under $5. I just got to wonder, how do you still pay for a 5th Avenue store if everything in your store is under $5?
Is the original Macy's on 5th Avenue?
I think so. Maybe.
No,
I'm not expert.
I want to go back so bad. I went when I was a junior in college, and it was so bang, bang, bang. Like, went for the day. My highlight was like walking in the lobby of the Empire State Building, and then we had to go. I got to see the 9/11 spot. You know, this was before the memorials and everything were put up, so that was emotional. But God, I want to go back so bad. And the funny thing is, you say Bravo's Pizza, and I guarantee you, there's a shitload of people that would be like, "Oh, you fucking went there? Are you kidding me?" And then
it was right next to Penn Station.
That's pretty solid pizza. Yeah. Oh man, I want to go back so bad. I want to do like, you know, a Yankee Stadium, Madison Square Garden, you know, all of that.
You're gonna have to spend at least 5 days there, and I think that's my wife and I kind of landed on. Is we were walking around there. We had this big retirement plan: retire on the water, you know, get a boat like on you know the Colorado River or something like that. We're walking around, and my wife looks at me. She goes, "I could live here." I'm like, "Could you afford to?"
Can't afford it. You
exactly
can't afford it, and it's okay because Texas is becoming little New York with the number of people moving over here. But
exactly, also moved to LA for New York, Texas, chaos. I think the coolest thing that I really encountered was getting a hot dog at a street vendor. Never experienced it in my life. And I think for those who haven't, you have to do that. There.
I did do that.
And you walk up to him and I'm like, "Hey man, how much for 2 dogs and 2 Cokes?" And he was like, $6. And I was like, "What?" And he's like, "Yeah, $6." I was like, "Well, how much for, you know, if I get one a chili dog?" He's like, 15 total. And I was like, "Okay. All right, you know, we'll just do 2 dogs." And then he's like, "All right." And then he starts like making the second hot dog. He starts
$6 for 2 hot dogs and 2 Cokes.
Okay, so it's 2 hot dogs with $6, and the Coke it was $10 total. Okay, it was $5 upcharge for a chili dog. But he starts like the chili dog was like, no, I just wanted 2 hot dogs. And he's like, no, I'll take care of it. It's fine. And then I'm like, no, now I gotta pay you the $15 because I feel bad. But it's super cool, dude.
Yeah, you would have paid $20 for that at a ball game, so that's fine. I did do the hot dog from the street vendor. You gotta go ginger ale though. You gotta go ginger ale.
I did Dr. Pepper, man, Texas.
Oh, it's funny you say that. Me and some buddies were talking about the new Sopranos movie coming up, which I am fucking stoked. It doesn't matter. I'm stoked.
I want to be happy about him. It's Gandolfini's son.
It's like. And I can't even. It's sad that I have this as a comparison because it's nowhere near in the same ballpark for me. But you're pumped up for Coming to America 2 because it's the sequel. You love the first one. It may not be good, but no, I'm stoked about this, and I can't wait to see it. But that led me, like the last, I guess, 3 years. I do this thing like once a week, like out of the year, where I'll watch Goodfellas, Godfather 1 and Godfather 2 just to see if I can decide which one's my favorite.
Or how many lines you can quote.
Oh, God. Endless. Goodfellas is easily by far, it passed Hoosiers for me years ago as the most watched movie because if it's on TV, it's staying on TV. And it's funny because my wife's movie is White Chicks. If White Chicks is on TV, it's staying on TV. Like, it's not even worth scrolling. It'll stay there. Yeah, there's a little difference there. And I've never been an artsy dude, believe it or not. I think I've gone to, like, an art exhibit 3 times, and that's because 2 of them I was in, and 1 of them I was I had to go for college credit.
Yeah, I remember this story.
Yeah. Some finger paintings or something that I got qualified. So I think the Godfathers are the closest, like the most artistic things that I appreciate. If that makes sense. But yeah, I still can't do it. I don't know. I think it's the historical order. You look at all the greatest movies, it's Godfather 1, Godfather 2, and Goodfellas. And I think it does fall like that for me. But, dude, I could literally watch each of those movies and then turn around and start it over and watch it again.
Yeah, I could not agree with you more. I have to ask you the question, though. There's 2 movies that I put in that category. One's a shoe-in. One's a stretch. The Irishman.
Oh, okay. I was worried about when you said 2.
The other one that I put in that same, I can keep watching over and over, and it's kind of that family for me, is The Town.
Oh, okay.
The Departed. Yeah. You might have just trumped my own thought. Yeah.
No, Departed's fine.
And The Departed and The Town together.
I think the nostalgia of the first 3 movies because of time. Irishman is great. I've already watched that movie 3 times. And for a 3-hour movie,
yeah, I know.
My life is either really lame or that movie was really awesome. but I can see those movies eventually being in that category. The Town it's
when we're 50 something, it's going to be in there, man.
Well, no, not The Town.
No. The Irishman will be in that rotation.
And I don't think The Departed will either. But they're definitely like, if you had to give A, B, those are the best B movies compared to the top of the top. I've gone full on. I watched The Godfather reunion from Tribeca Films in 2017. The fact that Al Pacino had to fight to be Michael Corleone is like mind blowing. And supposedly they auditioned like 50 people, including like Martin Sheen. There's a whole backstory there. Yes, they wanted Robert Redford.
Ooh, maybe,
but you don't picture anybody else in the role. No, dude. We can do a whole podcast, which I don't. Have you ever seen the Sopranos podcast?
No,
that's a whole other story. But anyway, that's what I've been up to. It's just coincidentally that you did your New York trip and it turned into that, but that's a whole other show.
See, I was just convinced you were going to say Corky Romano was up there with your top 3.
Perfect segment. Thank you for ruining that. All right, so back to our podcast. What is in your glass tonight, buddy?
So, in honor of what we're about to talk about in our What in the World of Whiskey segment a little bit later on, I am drinking RussBreed. So this is that 75% Russell's Reserve 10-year and the 75 or the 25% Wild Turkey Rare Breed combination that I did not a year ago, like a year ago. So little special house combo, but I thought I'd give it a shot. Haven't had it in a minute. What about you, good sir?
I went with a suggestion that I've put off a couple times just because it's always there. And I got Four Roses Small Batch Select. It's the one with the brown label in the front, $52, 104 proof. A buddy kind of reminded me of it a couple weeks ago. He's texted me. He was like, hey, man, this is one of those share with friends bottles. And I was like, you're right. So I went and grabbed it, and that's what I'll be sipping on. No need to dive into the Four Roses distillery history. It's one of the top dogs, Kentucky. One of the tours that I would love to take someday in Lawrenceburg, Kentucky. But yeah, that's what I'll
be doing it one of these days.
Absolutely.
All right. I just thought of something. Double back. We always talk about these gangster movies, right? Like these mob movies from like the New York, New Jersey area. We never talk about Gangs of New York. You know why? Because the movie fucking sucked.
Oh, a little harsh. That's another TV movie. I will
turn it every time.
No, I'll keep it on TV. I've asked the wife if she's wanted to watch it, and I think her problem is that she'll say is like, is it as good as the No, nowhere near.
There's 15 better mob or gangster movies out there.
But it's a different job. It's like completely different.
I know that. I know. But what's his fucked it up for me? Leonardo.
I know you're not gonna say Daniel Day-Lewis.
No, Leonardo DiCaprio.
I mean, that's another Academy Award-winning actor, though.
That's one time.
Oh, sorry. Shit, just one time. Damn. All right, well, we don't have to talk about Giannis today because he only won it one time. All right. Second dram. So we did have a champion crowned about a week ago now. Bucks and 6.
I want 50, not 49, not 51. I want 50.
Chick-fil-A nuggets. That's one hell of a way to celebrate. That's a whole other conversation. Do you go Mickey D's or do you go Chick-fil-A nuggets?
No, dude, get Chick-fil-A for life now. What are you talking about? Chicken minis, man.
Talk about you, like in general.
Ooh, I'm a Whataburger.
Health isn't an option.
I want 50 bobs.
Oh, God. I bet you do that.
I would. It's like my favorite menu item, dude. Sausage bobs all day with cheese.
Sausage bobs.
Yeah, dude.
All right, that's an undertone. Good series overall.
Class. Yeah, I mean, I like to see it go to 7, but it's a 6-game series, nothing to shark about. It wasn't a sweep. Suns played well. I mean, Giannis is just Giannis, dude.
Yeah, it definitely was a decent series. 6 or 7 was fine. It's that point in sports, man. 2 games is nothing.
Yep.
Uh, you know, it doesn't mean anything anymore. Can be erased easily. I don't have the stats. I'm not a historian enough to say if like 2-0 leads, what was the percentage of winning them back then as it is now, but it seems like they're just not it's not a big deal. But it was a great series.
I think that changed.
You hate that like Chris Paul, they had to have the conversation afterwards. I understand as a Dan Marino fan growing up, I love Charles Barkley as a commentator, so you kind of feel for him. It sucks that he may not get another chance, and they had to have that talk. But other than that, I mean, it was a solid NBA Finals, and as we talked about in one of our last episodes, Suns versus Bucks, that was new, that was exciting. Both fan bases showed what they could bring. I mean, those places, the scene outside the Bucks arena when they weren't even playing there was freaking looked like one of the like World Cup, scenes, which are just fanatic. We won't even talk about that. Euro Cup finished. I was going crazy when Italy won. But yeah, it was awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I completely agree. I mean, I don't even know if we hit on did we hit on the Tampa Bay Lightning in our last episode? We may have. I mean, there's just a lot happening right now. The Euro Cup is a great call.
Tampa Bay Bucks. Bucks won the
BUCS Bucks.
Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Tampa Bay Lightning. Tom Brady. Tom freaking Brady. Moving on. All right. No, good series. Wish we had done an episode around that time. Schedules didn't work out, but it was what it was. Giannis is great. Solidified his playoff season. Did a great job. It may not be his last one. We'll see. That's going to depend on offseason moves. See what team becomes a super team. See if the Nets can stay healthy. See if my Knicks can get somebody. But yeah.
We're not getting Giannis, so that's for sure.
Did you watch the new Space Jam?
No. I'm going to watch it. I am actively kind of boycotting it because I don't want to be disappointed, and I'm really afraid I'm going to be.
I watched it. So there's a couple people that aren't going to like it. The people that go into it expecting what me and you watched growing up, that's not going to happen.
Yeah,
you got to approach it like Coming to America too. It's been a while. The sequel's not going to be, it's not right after. The story does not continue. There are little tidbits of, hinting on the first one, and then 2 people who don't like LeBron James. They're not even gonna watch it, and they're gonna.
Which I'm so tired of.
I'm so tired of them.
I'm so tired of people hating on LeBron James, dude.
Well, hate the guy for being a great influence. Our younger generation looking up to the guy. He's done nothing wrong. Yeah.
Well, and financial, taking like nothing into something. He's right there with Shaq, right? And he's an entrepreneur.
Here's what you do. You see that LeBron flopped? Don't do that, son. Everything else, you do. There, fixed it. It wasn't. Of course we have that. Here's the thing. Ask your kid, did they enjoy it? I asked my son. He loved it. He's watched it twice since then. Was pumped when he got a little LeBron James at McDonald's. There. Mission accomplished. That's it. Done.
Fair enough. All right. You talked about gold. We talked about little John Gotti. You mentioned the Bucks rings. What are your thoughts? What are your thoughts on the Bucks ring?
Dude, that thing was sweet. It's just like it is probably the greatest ring ever made at this point. And where do they go from here? Like, this one had a removable top. The first question I had when I looked at it is there's a diamond inside when you open it up that sticks out, and you're like, oh, what is that? It's the diamond placed where they ran out of the tunnel. Like, that's how detailed they are getting. It ranks up there. It's awesome. Definitely would love to have it. Yeah, I mean, what do you not like about it besides the fact that it's not your team on the logo?
Yeah, I'm completely there with you. I mean, the only thing you could really do next time is like have a hologram that pops up of the individual player or some shit like
As
that.
soon as you said, "What are you gonna do?" and you said hologram, that's exactly what. Unless it turns into an actual stadium to be
Yeah.
played in, I don't know where you go from there.
This this is how we get to Transformers is through championship football
And
rings.
it's going to be Tom Brady at 75 years old.
Dude, speaking of Tom Brady, I have to throw this out. The video that he released, like ready for training camp, where he's throwing it into the pitchback machine over and over and over. I'm like, he still got it. I mean, that was all in a row. That was one segmented, like that was not
I'm
cut.
sure there was no editing, no Michael Vick, aka Powerade commercial from the early 2000s where he throws it out of the stadium. None of that going on. Olympics
Tom style. Yeah, what about it? What are you thinking? I mean, there's a couple things we can talk about here. I like the. I want to call out the few events that have happened first, right? You get the 1500 swimming, which is cool if you follow swimming. I think it's cool even if you don't follow swimming because everything's cool in the Olympics. Get to see a lot of sports you didn't even know existed.
Long ass swim, dude.
Dude, they're talking about it's 3 Empire State Buildings long.
Yes, it is a long ass swim. And it's somebody who is at like the most basic rookie level of like, I've swam some laps before. Like, that. Okay, so it's almost a mile.
Yeah, it is a mile. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Is it exactly a mile?
I don't think it's exactly because it's meters. Okay. And I think a mile 16, on the track is 1600. 16,
yeah. Yeah. Okay. That's what I thought. I got real dumb there for a second. Sorry, it's the whiskey. It's a dude. That's like, so if you go to the pool, you go to the Y and you're like, oh, I'm going to swim some laps, 30 something. Like that's what it is.
Back to back.
Yeah.
And
no breathers. I have done that. I have done that twice in my life. But the crazy thing is, like, it's like running. Like swimmers would be like, you're a fucking pussy. Like I do that every day. But for you, me, the fat dad bod guy who's just drank a beer, that's a lot. But yeah, that's crazy.
That's crazy. You got skateboarding for the first time. I think the first Olympic gold medalist was from Japan in the women's. I think that was a pretty cool accomplishment there in big Japan. And then surfing, our women bringing it home. First American gold medalist in surfing, first gold medal in surfing for women. Nice. Pretty awesome, man. But let's talk about the elephant in the room today. I think we have to at least address it. The women's gymnastics team during the team finals, Simone Biles pulls out. You find out she's not physically hurt, but there's a mental block there. There's a lot of people fucking hating on her. And I've got to call it out to like the Minuteman on Barstool. I do like watching his stuff, but I think he nailed it. Like, fuck the haters. Take your mental health first. You know, you've already proven yourself that you're the greatest of all time, and you still are going to come to the mat and do your best. The right thing to do is if you're not in the mindset to do it, give your team a chance, right? Give your team a chance to step in there and perform. And they did. I mean, they got silver. That's great. That's an amazing feat.
I'm not going to pretend like I know the whole situation. I'll tell you, I'll go on my rant in a second, but I've got to ask. I started seeing the posts, you know, there was a meme that got shared and then it got shared again, trying to compare the situation to like the softness of America. Was something going on where like they weren't giving her like max points because everyone else couldn't do that? Was there any truth to that?
Yeah, there is truth to that. There's a few great, crazy things, but that's a long ongoing controversy. I mean, she's sitting out there doing like crazy difficulty nobody in the world can compete with, but they're not raising the difficulty level in accordance to the level of difficulty she's providing out there. So she's always fighting for 15s when really her max should be 16, 17 points. So she's always at a handicap in the situation, but she's expected to do those because that's where she puts herself.
Okay, I just wanted to touch on that before I even brought it up, but I'm there. I did see that. Here's the thing, and keyboard warriors, you know, I am not gonna tell Biles, aka the GOAT, aka, you know, great Houstonian, greatest in the world. If she says she can't go, yo, I'm gonna listen to her, and that's it. You know, that's the thing. You can type whatever you want, you could say whatever you want, and the thing about it is it's never somebody big because they all have the same point of view. They understand and they appreciate what she's done, and they have their, you know, if she's saying this, it's for a reason.
Right.
It's going to be Tom, Dick, and Harry that are in their, basements, or me and you on this podcast, like, that are going to be like, well, no, she should have stood up for the team. Yeah, well, you should go fuck yourself. Like, no, she's going to do what she needs to do. She's done enough.
And she was honest about it. She said she was physically fine. It was just like mentally she was not in the headspace. She didn't pull a Jay Cutler. I mean, like, she did not do that. She got out there and cheered her team on. No, wasn't laughing. She was out there, cheered her team.
Have you ever seen that?
Exactly.
Jay Cutler photos with the cigarette photoshopped into his mouth? Oh, they're perfect. It's so good.
Because he looks like the kicker from the Replacements. They're just.
I'm not gonna lie, I do love me some Jay Cutler, but the fact that we're talking about Jay Cutler as we're talking about Simone Biles, like,
there's a problem with that. There's a problem. It's not a comparison. People need to stop making it. Like, she's not that person. She's still, gonna see if she can go for the individuals. So we'll see what happens. But overall, I mean, you look at how well the rest of the field was. I think silver is a win here, man. We got to stop always saying, "Oh, the women's gymnastics, if they don't get gold, then it's a bust." No, dude. I mean, America's still doing well. We have more medals than anybody else. We're still trailing Japan in the medal in gold. But overall, I mean, we're still showing up to an Olympics that, in many people's eyes, shouldn't have happened.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did catch a little bit of that. I did see the replay of the swimmer in lane 8 that won the gold. That was awesome, which is crazy because you're wondering if, like, lanes 3, 4, and 5 even saw him. And then the other thing I did wake up and I saw America lose to France. We talked about this.
Yep.
How the Dream Team was just so explosive. And I know the Dream Team, you think about it, it's crazy. That was 30 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
But even over time, like, you look at Vince Carter dunking over old dude from Australia or France. Everyone has kind of slowed Team USA down. And now it's just really competitive defensive basketball out there. And I did catch that game. Drew Holiday, props to him, man. He literally turned around and went there and balled out in that game. Other than that, I'm trying to catch Dressel. Is that his name? The swimmer? Phelps 2.0. I'm trying to catch him when I can. I have his schedule. Trying to keep track of that. Other than that, I haven't watched too much. It's one of those things where they're early in the morning. So I'm catching the highlights when I can. I shared my favorite moment of all time. It was the 4x100 freestyle relay from 2008. Michael Phelps and them, Lochte. That is up there for me in not only greatest Olympic moment, but greatest sports call of all time. Like, I've watched that 1,000 times. I get chills every time I hear the whole, he's definitely tightening up. Lochte's catching him. Ah! Like, it's fucking like, I'm getting chills right now, and I do a shitty job doing an imitation of it.
Did you watch NBC's, like, they let the swimmers do the breakdown, like the post, they did like a special on the breakdown of that swim, and they interviewed each one of them. And like, what were you thinking? Yeah, it was pretty cool.
I'm going to have to check that out. That is the, like, I and now, like, as I'm talking about it and getting so pumped, it's up there with, like, for me, Crabtree's catch.
Crabtree!
Like that. Yes, it is there for me. So that is awesome. Definitely going to dive into the Olympics more as they get going.
What about Dean Boxall's reaction? That's the Australian swimmer.
Oh, is that the dude going psycho, grabbing the rails?
He did like 3 humps, and then he did
pure emotion, man. Pure emotion, pure love, and thrill for their athlete, just all released. And as a dude who was a shitty coach, but I did get to coach. When you see them, your players, and I did team sports, so I could only imagine individual sports.
It's like watching a child.
Right. And you get no more like, when, you played shitty high school football like me and you, we were proud of ourselves, but it's a whole different level. So I can't even imagine the Olympics. And that's just pure joy right there.
Not that I don't want to keep talking about the Olympics, but got a couple other things. Like we said, football's coming back. We're going to do a deep dive next episode. We're setting up our fantasy football league. We'll give you our fantasy football breakdown. Not that you come here for that, but why the fuck not? And the last thing, dude, The Guardians. Guardians of the Galaxy, right? That's what they are.
So this is as a...
So many options. Many options.
There's so many options. And this is not as a... this isn't the Yankees changing their team name. So I can't... And I'm saying that because I'm a Yankees fan, not because I think, So I don't
won
know
a World Series like recently.
Right. So I had to dive into like how on Twitter, how were Cleveland fans taking it? And it was the same reaction I had. and I think I don't know if I've talked about this before. I had the Cleveland Indians hat growing up after watching Major League. I loved it. It was one of my favorite hats. You grow up, you understand, your times change. Okay, roll with it. Guardians, people kind of said the same thing, generic. But then again, in the sports world, what names new or not generic? Unless you're like the minor league team called the Sock Puppets that I just saw today and probably will buy their hat, or unless you're a minor league baseball team, and then they have the backstory with the bridge. Apparently, these are the Guardians of Traffic, which don't say that because it makes it sound worse than the name itself. The logo's a little Mickey Mouse-ish. Actually, the funniest thing I saw was, how the new logo has the white wings? Somebody put a meme of Paulie from The Sopranos with his hair, and they're like, oh, now it's cool. I get it. Indians, Guardians.
No, it's safe.
Spiders, I thought was the popular option, and there was a lot of cool things you could have done with that. Can you imagine the uniforms with the webs and all
Spider-Man days?
On? Yeah. But the Nationals, that's another. I think
but the Nationals has a point. I mean, it's DC.
Well, yeah, but they gave the backstory. They have the statues on the bridge. Those are the Guardians, and that's dumb. That's what they're doing.
That's dumb. If you have to give that backstory, people read that and go, "What?" And you have to explain. It's like if you have to explain a joke, it's not funny.
Okay, so did you know what the Knicks were named after?
The Knickerbockers. No, but there's history to it. People, when it was named that, knew what the fuck it meant. There's history there.
Yeah,
they didn't make up the Knicks yesterday. Like the Aggies. Who knows what an Aggie was? People in 1930-something knew what an Aggie was, but do I now today? No, I have to tell you what an Aggie is.
I still don't want to know. No, I mean, I get it. It'll hopefully grow in. I understand. Safe. We'll see. Like I said, I'm not a diehard Cleveland Indian fan, so it's not like, oh gosh, I can't believe they did that.
I wonder though, the Washington football team, when they decide to actually make their real name change, if they look at this and go, maybe we shouldn't go safe. Maybe we should do something fucking cool.
Well, like see, their problem. Okay, so their problem is they've put pressure on themselves. The Guardians announced this in December, and now they drop it in the middle of the year. Washington is going to go have 2 seasons
under that stupid name
where they get to decide, and they have time, and they've done the reach out to the community, take a vote. There's going to be some pressure on that one. And I agree with you. Red Wolves would be awesome.
Red Wings.
Red Tails would be sweet. If they like, there's a lot going on there. They can do the Washington. What was it? What were they called?
They can do the Indians now.
Oh gosh, yeah. Moving on, but yeah, we'll see. I mean, I will see. It'll be interesting how the merchandise sells. It's sad when I think the Seattle Kraken of the NHL actually came up with a cooler name and
that's a cool name
logo. Like that's a cool name. I wanted to buy merch, just like that's pretty cool.
I want to get a Kraken jersey. Why not?
Sure, why not? Fuck it.
Why not? Fuck it. The only other one is like maybe Washington comes back with the Washington football team and spells it FUTBOL. That'd be kind of interesting.
So what's in the nose of that glass there, buddy?
Man, I always kill segments with my good jokes. Fruit, red cherries, classic hints of vanilla.
Now, remind me, we rated these.
I know. I know. I don't remember what it was.
And RussBreed, I believe.
You liked this one.
I did. I think that was
Honey.
my second favorite after the 19.
I would. So honey, cinnamon, red cherries. Those are the three predominant ones. Not oakiness.
I think it was my second favorite after our 1915 mix.
1915 is a shit because 1920 is just so good. So for me, the nose on this, I wish it was a little bit stronger. I'll give you that. But the notes are just right. Right. They're everything you want, like honey, cherries, cinnamon, nothing negative, not overly oaky. This is a solid, I'm just going to say A-, B+. Can I split that? No, let's go on the high side, A-.
Nice. So Four Roses has a lot of, it's one of those traditional old school Kentucky bourbons. Got good nose classics on this small batch select. And I've had, regular small batch Four Roses. It's been a very long time. It was actually given to me by a friend who didn't like it, but it was good. And I've had it several times since then. That's kind of like one of those, like if you're at a restaurant or bar and you're trying to keep it cheap, you'll grab a Buffalo Trace. Sometimes you'll just say like Four Roses for you newbies out there. And if you don't agree with me, well, that's your problem. Dark chocolates on this one, vanilla. It definitely was given. I was told it was a dessert bourbon, sweet. I get that more in the taste, which I'll talk about in a little bit. But yeah, it's definitely one of your more traditional, your vanilla, your oak, but with a little bit more dark chocolate nose.
I like that. I would agree. That's probably desserty. I wouldn't call it dessert bourbon, but desserty.
Milk chocolate melted a little bit.
What's the proof on that one?
104.
Does it smell like 104?
Not. So I get this sting in the back that says I'm 104. Initially, no. Initially, it's a smooth 104, but then kicks in the back, which 104 isn't. To the true bourbon drinker who likes to get.
It's a sweet spot.
Yeah. Well, a little bit. 6 more points in my sweet spot, but.
It's funny you say that.
I'll give it a B+.
Okay. It's funny you say that because I'm looking here like Four Roses barrel strength or like single barrel strength, right? It's a 10-year, but I've never seen one in person at 55%. It's 110 proof. It's kind of like that square round bottle. Yes. You know what I'm talking about? I've never seen one in person. I've had a single barrel, but not the barrel proof. I just wish that's one thing about Four Roses. I wish they kind of upped into the ante of more of the barrel proofy, like 120s, 130s. All right. So I think it's time for us to get into our third dram. What about you, man?
Sounds good.
All right. So third dram. We're just going to label this section.
This is going to be complex.
It is a lot like our palate. The NCAA. There's a lot of shit going on. So we're going to break it into 3 segments. And we'll kind of walk through those here in a second. But NIL, name, image, and likeness. Conference realignment, which it could be its own freaking podcast by itself. And then the future of the NCAA. So what do you want to start with? Conference realignment or NIL?
NIL, because I don't have a lot to say about that.
Okay. Name, image, and likeness. For those who aren't aware, the NCAA essentially, there was a court ruling. The NCAA said, okay, we'll go ahead and give players the ability to make money off of their name, image, and likeness. And as a result, the last 3 weeks have been a very, very interesting time in collegiate history, just in general. Some athletes, starting to monetize their TikTok or their Instagram or their YouTube videos, right? You've had Reggie Bush and a few others saying, reinstate my wins if I'm Ohio State, reinstate my Heisman trust if I'm Reggie Bush. And you've had recently some players being offered 7-figure deals. So, and then you have individuals like David Shaw weighing in and saying, this is not really a players making money off their likeness. This is players making money off of the Alabama name. Right? So let's break that down, man. I mean, what are your thoughts? I mean, no right, wrong opinion here. I'm curious where your head's at. Like, was it the right thing to do? Are we going too far? Is this going to be kind of like a?
You want my honest opinion?
Yeah, for sure.
I don't give a shit. No, I don't give a shit as in like this should be happening.
It should have happened a long
like
time
if anybody
ago.
wants to be, you're right. If anybody wants to do the controversy thing, with what David Shaw said, I don't think that's necessarily the case. I mean, you got the basketball twins out in Fresno State who are getting a fat check. That's not the Alabama name. That's Fresno State. You know, you got these little guys that are banking on themselves. Somebody, who was it? Small time quarterback somewhere out there is literally telling people that if you want me to talk for an hour, it's going to cost you like $10,000. The big guys are going to get big money.
Yeah.
The little guys are going to get little money. Get what you can, do what you can.
But that's capitalism at its finest. I mean, that's what America's made on, man.
And then I like what like Barstool did.
Yeah,
they're telling people, hey, throw us, we'll sponsor you. That's awesome.
Barstool athlete.
I say I don't give a shit. Like if I'm watching Bama and Auburn on Saturday, I'm not telling, oh shit, that quarterback dropping back's making $1 million. I'm watching.
We don't even do it with the pros.
Yeah, exactly. So good for them. They deserve it.
Sure.
So moving on.
My take on this, and I'm not going to belabor the point. I think it's a rubber band effect right now. I think that
the labor.
I'm not going to belabor. I'm not going to
You're not going to give labor. You're a man. No, she'll extend. You won't extend.
You done?
Yeah.
I'm not going to belabor the point. I think
because you extended. Oh.
Okay, I'm trying to keep shit in the show right now.
All right, sorry, I didn't mean to belabor you.
You're welcome. So I'm not going to extend this conversation longer than needs to be. But I think it's a rubber band effect right now. I think when you open a market and the market's going to go a free market, right? There is a certain level of extension that it can take, elasticity, if you will, economically, and then it's going to snap back to normalcy. But right now we're seeing all the wild and out contracts. We're seeing the wild and out offerings because people are like, oh shit, how far can it go? And we're going to reach that snapback effect, right? I think we all thought, hey, some kids are going to some free steaks at the mom and pop steak shop. But what it's turning into now is people making multi-million dollars off of like ESPN sponsorships. Like that may be where we go, but I think there's a regulation or a not to say regulation, there is a normaling effect that's going to take place in the next probably year to two, where we'll snap back and realize, hey, NBA players, NFL players really make more money, more bang for our buck. These college players fizzle out because once they get to the NFL, you don't know whether they're going to bring their full game or not. They're still going to be the cream of the crop. Your Trevor Lawrences and Clemson are going to make their money. So be it. I think the more important topic here, though, is what we kind of alluded to in the beginning is the players that their records were taken away. Their awards were taken away. They were putting the asterisk on the record books, whatever it may be. The Johnny Manziels, maybe not Johnny Manziels, but the Terrell Pryors, right? These players that have had essentially either everything they did in college, all their achievements stripped away because of a stupid rule, should retroactively have their records reinstated. I think Ohio State should have their wins reinstated. And when's the last time you think you'd ever hear me say that? Never. But they should. It was tattoos.
Okay, so I'll go from not giving a shit to playing a little bit of devil's advocate.
I don't like when you do this because you go, what about this? What about this? What about this?
Okay. Rules are rules at the time.
So you think everybody in prison right now for a weed charge should stay in prison? Same. I mean, it's similar.
I was gonna say something like, "Hey, they eventually invented the 3-point line, so 3-point lines, became 3-point shots." But rules are rules at the time. Rules change. It wasn't too long ago that. Hey, don't forget, it wasn't too long ago that in the state of Texas at night you had to stay 65 or below. So that rule changed. Rules change.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever adhered to that rule and never knew it was a rule. So
I don't give a shit. I thought of the most devil's advocate thing I could say. I think you give Reggie his Heisman. I just want to have fun with you. if anything, I try to be a poor man's Max Kellerman and Stephen A. Smith, which we fall well short of.
Whoa.
But
yeah, and I don't know if I want to be compared to Stephen A. Smith right now.
Okay, I'll chime in on that. He said sorry. It was bad. He apologized literally all day long. Should he have said it? No. Are you going to fire Stephen A. Smith? No.
No, but I've never liked Stephen A. though, so I'm a little biased.
Very good point. I had this argument with somebody else earlier. Why don't you like Stephen A. Smith?
Because he's overly aggressive, brash, arrogant, and doesn't let someone get a word in edgewise.
Perfect. What has made Stephen A. Smith who he is and all the money that he's made?
All of that doesn't mean I have to like it.
Thank you. All right.
It doesn't change that I don't like him. I don't know what your point was there.
My point is that's what he does. That's who he is.
Yeah.
And that's what's got him where he's at.
Not like it.
Whether you like him, I like him, anybody likes him, who I love him.
I think everybody loves to hate him. Those who don't like him love to hate him. I'll tell you. How about that?
Okay, so like if you had to, let's like Stephen A., Colin Cowherd, and Skip Bayless. And I say that because I know you aren't a big fan of any of them, but you had to listen to one of them.
Colin?
Oh, fuck.
I know I was going to rile you up.
Bad. I'll take Stephen all day. I do love Stephen A. Smith.
I hate Skip Bayless. I hate Skip Bayless so much.
But see, I have to tell myself the same thing. Skip Bayless, I don't like him for the same reasons that like people don't like Stephen A. Smith. He plays devil advocate just about as good as anybody, and he does that. Okay, all right, and then he does that thing, and then he goes into it, and you know what he's gonna do. So yeah. Anyway, what else we got? Conference alignment. You want
my favorite thing about Skip? I mean, yeah, we could. Hold on, say it again.
No, go with my favorite.
So my favorite thing about Skip Bayless is the fact that Shannon Sharp makes him look stupid.
I love me some Shannon Sharp, man. I was watching. I do too. I think it was.
I love his Twitter more than anything.
I don't know his Twitter. I know for sure it was the first Hard Knocks. It was the Baltimore Ravens. I don't know if it was 2001. I think it was the year after they won the Super Bowl. Holy cow! When that rookie imitates him, do you remember that? If you don't and you haven't seen it, look at it. It was like when the kangaroo hat was in style. You know the circle hat. You know LL Cool J, and a rookie imitates him, and it was one of the best moments on Hard Knocks. But yeah, I do like me some Shannon Sharp. But yeah, all right.
So we can spend an hour on conference realignment. Or
let's jab it. Let's quick jab it real quick. Let's Floyd Mayweather it, hit it real fast, give it our quick punches, and get going.
Just get our paycheck and get out. Okay.
If you've lived under a rock, OU and UT are changing the landscape of college football. They have asked to end their contracts with the Big 12, but there's a lot of discussion going on that it's going to happen a lot sooner than 2025.
Mm-hmm.
And they
formally requested.
They want to go to the SEC.
SEC.
Let's keep it simple.
Yep.
Good or bad?
For who? For the
good point.
For the 8 teams left in the Big 12, bad. For the SEC and everybody associated with it, great. And A&M fan, I mean, you had to bring me around on this, right? So emotionally, I want to say no. I want to say no because I want them to crash and burn and fucking become a pile of rubble. Because I'm petty as fuck, dude. I'm petty.
Okay.
Now, realistically, do I want OU and Texas in the same conference? I'd rather play OU and Texas every year than Alabama. So if they realign it and Alabama goes to the East, sure, let's do it. Let's do it. I would love to whoop Texas' ass for the next 5 years while shit gets figured out. It'd be great. I've been wanting to whoop their ass for the last 10 years. But at the end of the day, it's the right move for everybody involved financially. Now, the 8 teams left, including your Red Raiders, they've got some shit to figure out. Like, I feel for them, right?
No, I agree. This is an absolute move for money.
Selfish as fuck.
Sense. Right, unless you're one of the 8 schools and you have emotional feelings and you're like, oh shit, I can't get a piece of that pie. Yeah, it makes sense.
But does Texas not make a selfish move? The Longhorn Network was a selfish AF move. And they're basically saying, fuck everybody else besides Oklahoma. We're going to be selfish as fuck and go to SEC. It's
so selfish that A&M was like, I want a channel too.
No, because we're petty as fuck.
SEC. Yeah. Oh, speaking of Colin Cowherd, I texted you this other day. I do not agree with almost anything that man says, but he made a point. He talked about going to see UT and the USC game, Vince Young. And he made a good point that he felt Austin fit in better with the Big 12 because of the city, the technology.
California 2.0.
Yeah, pretty much. And that was a good point. I would give him that. But money, cream of the crop, Texas and OU belong with the cream of the crop because of the programs that they've built, regardless of the success that UT has had recently. They do belong.
Hasn't had.
Right. The lack of a success.
Okay.
The programs sell themselves. You know, it is a pretty shitty situation for the other 8 schools.
Yeah.
So
I think you've got a few schools, in my opinion. And I read somewhere where like Baylor and TCU will like end up being shafted more than anybody else, get relegated to like, the MAC, essentially becoming a G5 school. I don't know that's necessarily true.
They kick ass in that league, whatever.
Yeah. So I think, Iowa State's got a good shot to go Big Ten. I think Tech has a really good shot to go either, geographically speaking. They could play in either Pac-12 or Big Ten.
I think there's a shot in hell at the Big Ten. I think it's Big 12. I think it's Pac-12 or bust.
Sure, but the thing that the Tech has going for them is we're not just talking football here. We're talking basketball too.
Exactly. That's why. But at the end of the day, and I read another article about this, nobody's talking baseball and basketball right now. Nobody.
But they should be. Basketball, they should.
They should be. They should be, but they're not. Yeah. Football's going to control
football's king. We know
everything.
Sure.
And then you're talking about a program in Texas. Tech right now, and it has been the last couple of years, is a basketball school. But at the end of the day, this is a football move. They have to go Pac-12. That's it. I don't even want.
They can make it work.
They could make it work if you stay and the 8 teams stay and you pull in a Houston and a BYU or Cincinnati. But there are still things that intrigue me about the Pac-12 that I think financially, I think you're going to have that matchup against, given the geographics, 2 different leagues, Stanford against Arizona, against Arizona State, against Cal, against Oregon, I think those are games that can sell. And I think it makes sense. And then, yes, you roll basketball into that. That would be freaking sweet for Texas Tech to play in the Pac-12.
So let's talk about Go ahead.
Mm-hmm.
Go ahead. Sorry.
No, that's it. I think it's Pac-12 or bust if they do leave, which they are leaving.
So let's talk about the 3 biggest losers here, right? So I think we can both agree that K-State is, I don't know, they're lost, dude. They're in la la land. I don't think anybody wants them. Iowa State's good to go. Kansas, I think their basketball program is going to save them here, even though they're talking basketball.
Yeah, and I read the other day that Kansas was the first one besides once they were like, okay, UT and Oklahoma, they started talking to the Big Ten already.
Well, and then like West Virginia's set. I mean, they're ACC all day, right? They'll be in there like a bag of chips. Like they'll be good. They're a natural fit geographically. I think they are, and I think they bring a little
Pat
bit of weight.
McAfee touched on this the other day. I have to listen to it again, but I think he said he'd rather go Big Ten. He's a pretty big West Virginia alumni, but
no, that's a fair enough.
Listen to it again,
but I think they're okay, is what I'm saying. TCU, keep looking at the TCU and Oklahoma State. I think Oklahoma State could do a Big Ten push. I think it's possible. TCU and Baylor, like they are. Kansas is effed. TCU and Baylor on the bubble, man. I don't know what you do if you're them. Like Baylor's president put out his big ass statement, basically It was like 3 pages of a resume that was their official statement. Like, please come get us. Someone save us.
I think initial reports were like, and it makes sense. And I'm not saying because of I went to Tech, which but because of the basketball program, because of some success at the football level and so forth, I've read that Pac-12 should grab Oklahoma State, TCU, and Tech. And I actually think, I just found it. KU called Big Ten as soon as all that broke out. So they were setting themselves up quick. I think that makes sense. Baylor.
I mean, they've had basketball success.
Yes, obviously.
But I mean,
this isn't a basketball move.
I know, but I mean, it's something to add to your resume. But football, I mean, other than a few good years, they've struggled.
They turned it around quicker than Tech did.
Turned around quicker than Texas did.
Yeah. I don't know. There's a lot of pieces,
but it's
definitely something to be.
Is this the end of the Big 12?
Yes.
Okay, they don't hold together as the Big 8.
No, it won't hold together as the Big 8. And then if you add like Houston or in Cincinnati, there's just not. It's just financially. No, these teams,
they become a G5. I mean G6.
Tech needs to go in.
It's like
I said, Tech and everyone else needs to grab onto somebody else's coattails and stay afloat.
So how are you going to handle the Tech games? As all playing those, I mean, you'll be the last. Everybody will be watching Tech because they'll be the last Texas game being played every day. Every day.
That was something that actually was brought up in something I read, which I know this is like the 4th time I've said an article. I really need to get better sources. That would give them a new market for the Pac-12,
sure,
time-wise.
Mm-hmm.
That central time zone.
Our buddy Keith is moving out to California. He'll be able to watch Tech on a regular basis without waking up at 9 o'clock in the morning. We're starting games at 9 o'clock.
And he'll be drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning, too.
He will indeed. Been there with him.
So, future of the NCAA.
So that's where I've read a lot of articles. Like the SEC at this point, like they can pretty much do whatever they want. We've seen the NIL stuff lay out, conference realignment. You got to wonder, like, what power does the NCAA have in 5 years?
I don't know. The craziest thing I heard today was from a reporter on ESPN. She said that there's a possibility, like, it's a 32-team conference just controlling everything like the NFL, and I really don't.
I don't want to see it.
Like,
I don't like it.
I don't want to see it, but it doesn't blow my mind if that were to happen.
It's not impossible.
But there you are. You sitting there as an Aggie. Jumped in the boat a long time ago. Does Oklahoma set you back?
It depends how the conferences line up. I think this is where
they'd be in the same conference.
Yeah, well, I think the SEC has to realign, right? So I think Alabama does go east, which poor everybody in the East right now, like they're gonna hate life. But I think they have to.
Except for Florida.
Yeah, but I mean, geographically speaking, you're gonna you do have a new West. I don't think that anybody is going to be worse than Alabama. I'd much rather play Oklahoma twice than Alabama once, frankly.
Lane can build that.
He can.
Did you see what he posted today?
No.
Well, the Ole Miss football team tweeted today.
No, I didn't see it.
It was essentially like it said, like, it just means more here. Something along those lines. And there was a picture of a Texas guy trying to tackle an Ole Miss player as he was scoring a touchdown, and it was a Oklahoma player trying to tackle an Ole Miss player as it was just basically like the Rebels doing some work on both those teams.
I don't think it's going to happen, dude. I think Oklahoma's going to come in and do well. Texas, I think, is gonna struggle for another 5 years.
I don't know about 5 years. I automatically, if this were to happen, Oklahoma becomes top 3.
Mm-hmm.
Texas is middle. I mean, you have to think about it. They've lost to teams like Iowa State. They've lost to teams like Maryland. They've lost to just middle of the California within the last couple of years. That may have been more than what I'm remembering. But, yeah, they become middle of the pack right now because they are rebuilding from Charlie Strong and Tom Herman.
Sure, but they're gonna run to the same thing the A&M did, dude. Like the game's just different in the SEC on a week to week basis, right? Like they're gonna take some time to get comfortable
Yeah.
and be able to play those teams year after year. I mean, I see like Ole
A&M
Miss and
took a
Mississippi State
while.
being able to.
I texted you this.
Yeah,
It took
dude. I mean,
9 seasons in like Jimbo Fisher.
well, I mean, and you have one good season with Johnny, right? So, but beyond that, like you don't know who's going to win every weekend. Like Ole Miss is going to take you to a shootout every weekend. I'm not sure Texas can compete with what they've got. I just don't think they can.
Yeah. Recruiting, it's going to.
It's going to make it. It will. Yeah, I think that's true. But
we're the only Texas school.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's one of the number one reasons. There's 2 things. It's recruiting and then it's pettiness as fuck. Like that's the 2 reasons Aggies don't want to happen. I'm kind of excited about it the more I dwell on it because at least we'll get the game back. It will be Thanksgiving game.
You're touching on that because that was a big text thread that I had.
Because I'm tired of playing fucking LSU at the end of the year. Like I'm tired of it. Just put them in the middle of the fucking year. That doesn't mean shit. I'm tired of this fake fucking rivalry that doesn't exist. Other than 72-74, nothing else matters.
No,
like,
that's not a thing. LSU and A&M
72-74 is a thing.
Nobody.
But it was this kind of concocted.
Nobody.
Sure, Pac-12 people do.
No.
No, you're right. No, it is an illusion that SEC is trying to cook
this
up.
This is the first time I'm hearing of it. It's not a thing. So the you want the rivalry that bad?
Yeah, dude.
I think it needs to. I'm not. I've told you. I am a realist. I am the outside guy looking in. I went. I pride myself. Here's the thing.
Being an outsider.
But here's the thing.
With a dark past.
Here's the thing. We may not beat you on the field. Well, we can beat you on the court now. But I guarantee you, pregame, we're going to whoop some ass. Like, we are going to take some names, and we're going to whoop some ass at Texas Tech. Pregame,
you mean pre-gaming in the parking lot?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
No. No. I'm talking about
you're going to drink the entire Pac-12 under the table.
Yes, Pac-12. SEC, we will hang with any of them. Like beer pong, Edward 40 hands. Like we will outdrink you. We may not outthink you, but we will outdrink you.
There's your slogan for Tech.
Yes.
Going into the Pac-12.
I am a realist. So yeah. I don't even know where I was going with that. I just wanted to say that.
I don't know, but I feel like that slogan really, we will not outthink you, but we will outdrink you.
Absolutely.
Or we may not.
You bet your ass we will.
All right. So I think that's a great segment about drinking. Let's go ahead and give our tasting notes and our palate on this whiskey. How do you spell whiskey, with an E or without?
It depends where I'm vacationing that day.
In my mind.
If I'm over in the Isles of Ireland, it's without one.
Indubitably.
I'm drinking this Four Roses right now that says whiskey with an E. I texted you. We really got to stop saying that. Apparently, we talk a lot. I got chocolate on the nose, and I got like a lemon cake, a lemon tart on the palate. Lemon, honey, sweeter things. I agreed with my buddy. Maybe he planted it in my head, but it is a sweeter dessert. But then it's followed by it has a good lingering on the tongue. Oak, vanilla, go figure for a Kentucky bourbon. But the lemon cake is a big thing that stands out to me, which he did not get when I told him that. But yeah, I'm going to give this a solid B+ on the tongue palate as well.
I think I made a mistake. I got into the 4th dram before we were ready for the 4th dram, so this is going to be hard.
You got into the 4th dram before we got. Oh, you're drinking. Okay, I see what you're saying.
Yeah. So I made a slight mistake. I got into the 4th dram before we were ready for it, so this is going to be challenging. Light, friendly, slight oakiness, honey throughout. No real after bites. It's very oily, coat your tongue.
Whiskey butter.
It's not whiskey butter. It's got more of a, it's got a slight bite to it. Yeah, it's kind of like a peppery note, but it's not very aggressive. I would account it to like whiskey pepper butter, like some good butter, but with a little bit of pepper in there. That's going to
I
be,
might buy that.
yeah, it sounds good, right? Overall, solid B plus
On the palate.
on the palate. Yeah, this is not anything that's going to overwhelm you as amazing, and I think that's similar to what we kind of ran into with it.
Great.
Because it's so good on the nose.
I'm going to ask you a question when we get into our overall ratings, but I'll save that. Let's get into that fourth dram officially over that goal line.
Let's do it. Oh, that was aggressive.
That was a slammer. Let me do that again.
Yeah, it sounds like you dropped a fucking Bailey's into an Irish car bomb right there.
That sounds so good.
It does sound good right now.
Like I said, I'll drink you. I don't think you. We talked about our favorite movies earlier. We did some theatrical research this week.
A little what in the world of whiskey documentaries is what we're calling this segment.
Absolutely. We made it a homework goal to watch Bourbon Heist.
Good us. Good job us.
Off Netflix. It was a heist, and it was about Pappy.
So it's technically under the show called Heist, and then it's Pappy. It's like part 1 and 2.
Yes. Okay. Which people are just giving each other so much shit online because on the whiskey blogs, which you can't put anything on the whiskey blogs without getting shit, because you have to think about it. It's guys that are drinking whiskey, sometimes drunk, sometimes not drunk, just
most of the time drunk.
Yeah.
It's a bunch of that and crotch shots is the only thing you get.
So by the time that guy, like the third person put, have you seen Heist? People have already been like, yeah, we all fucking seen Heist. Stop talking about it. Let me beat off to my Kentucky Deluxe. Anyway. Anyway, that was just a side note that I caught this weekend, but we watched that. And then I had told you that I was more excited about the JD documentary, Chasing Whiskey, which was the untold story of Jack Daniels, which I had seen that somebody posted on one of the Facebook pages, the trailer, and I was like, oh, that looks fucking awesome. And I love me some Frank Sinatra, Jack Daniels history, even though it doesn't go into that too much. So yeah, we watched both of those, got them done. So this is our unofficial review, what we thought about both of them. And let's start with Bourbon Heist. And of course, we'll end with the, obvious question of which one did we prefer more. But what did you get out of Bourbon Heist there, Dick?
I mean, Bourbon Heist is a story that we knew. I don't think we had the full backstory. We didn't have the first-hand accounting of. I think this can be spoiler alerts on both of these, right? So if you haven't watched them, pause it, come back to our comments, but I'm not going to not talk about it. I thought overall, very interesting story. The reason I'm drinking RussBreed tonight is because the reason he actually got busted was for wild turkey, or unaccounted for, painted over wild turkey barrels. It sounded like most of what they were selling. But what I got from it is it's really, really easy to apparently just steal a couple bottles of Pappy and walk out of a building, like if you work there. And it makes me wonder.
Used to be.
I wonder, like, what kind of accounting and like system they have in place right now, or since all this happened. But ultimately, it's a story of one dude just trying to get by and make some money on the side because he sports and whiskey, right? That's the story of a lot of us. And one really fucking annoying sheriff with like a dog with a bone that couldn't handle the fact that he got beat, that he needed to get reelected so damn bad that he was going to go to any lengths to ignore any amount of evidence to just pin it on one dude. And I think that's what really, really fucking bothered me with the entire thing. Like, yeah, theft is wrong, sure. But if you're stealing something and people don't realize it's gone, is that really theft? I have to ask yourself that question. I have to ask you that question. I just don't know. Technically, yes, it is. But at the same time,
it's still stealing. Yes,
it's good old boys, dude. Like it's the good old boys of Kentucky. What about you, man?
It was. So what I got out of it was I was glad that it wasn't like Oh man, this is gonna sound bad. I'm glad it wasn't a bunch of nerds. I'm glad it was a funny guy, a funny group of people that I would have loved to hang out with and drink whiskey with.
Yeah,
And
honestly,
people who,
the main dude kind of reminded me of you.
oh God, thank you so much for that. I don't know how, other than the fact that we drink whiskey and I would love some Pappy. It was just some like people who loved it, lived it, cherished it, enjoyed it. But I say that, but I don't know if he at the beginning didn't he say he like drank vodka or something when he started working there or something?
Yeah, he didn't drink whiskey. He drank beer and vodka.
So
and they were like when the shift started, like drink it or you're a snitch.
Obviously changed over time. But like the softball crew, that would have been cool. Like I'm glad it was. Oh man, that guy stole it.
That's what I'm saying. Like he reminds me of you because I can see you being like the home run champ, the big dog on the field, and then you go to work at a whiskey place and you're like, I miss that, right? Because his wife basically told him, give it up.
That sounds like my fucking dream right there. Yeah, sounds about right. It makes a lot of sense actually. But no, that was the cool part. And then the whole so the guy who ended up actually stealing the Pappy and the actor that they picked it, that was like,
whiskey nerd.
That guy ended up with it.
Slimy bastard.
Like I could think of the guy that we could probably think of, like, oh, he stole it. Ah, shit. So yeah, that's what I got out of that. If anything, so the cool thing was I had a buddy text me, and he's dude, I'm watching Heist. Have you seen it? Yeah, dude, I saw it 2 nights ago. It makes me want to go get some Buffalo Trace right now. And he's not like a legit whiskey drinker, so it's like, cool, go get you some. And then that led into get this, try this, go for this.
Buy me a Pappy.
Buy me a Pappy. So that was the cool part about that.
So I have to ask you, and I'm going to derail just slightly off of it because we're going to go into the JD one, unless you have anything to add. Sorry.
No, I'm good.
Okay. So I went up to visit our buddy Keith. Right, I talked about going to New York and New Jersey. That's what I was seeing up there. I went to a local liquor store, and they had a bottle of 10-year Pappy and a bottle of Stag 2019, like George T. Stag, right?
Mm-hmm.
Both listed as $6.99. Either one of them worth it?
No.
Okay.
No, George T. Stag.
Stag Jr.
I had the 2019. Stag Jr.?
No. It was regular Stag.
Okay, George Stag. I would spend easily.
I have a number. I want to hear yours.
No thoughts about it. I would spend $200 on George T. Stag. If somebody put $250 on a sticker, I would go back and forth, and I would probably walk out of there with it. Anything over, no, not a chance.
We're close. I'm a $199 all day guy, and $299 I'm walking out with it still.
But you would buy it for $300?
$299, yeah, sure.
Okay, yeah. See, $250, I'm probably still walking out. Pappy 10. I would say knock $50 off of that. If it's $150, I'm definitely getting it. If it's at the $200, I'm going back and forth, and a lot of that has to do with just the fact that it's a name. I think I told you this. I don't know if we talked about it on our last episode. A buddy sent me a picture of Pappy 12, and I texted him right away. How much did you pay for it? $1,000. And I didn't have the heart to say
why.
Right. So Pappy 12, $250. Pappy 10, it's $150. $200 may be walking out of it. I'm checking my bank account. I'm possibly giving the wife a heads up at $200, but I'm walking out past that. But that's because I've had it. So I know. But I guess that's the easiest way I could answer that question for you.
That's fair. So the same guy, I said, do you ever get anything else? Yeah, we had Pappy 23 2 weeks ago. I said, what'd you sell it for? He's like $23.99.
Ooh, nutty. but they don't know. And you're going to get that guy who has the money who doesn't know, and he'll walk in and it's probably pennies to them.
Yeah, it's a richer area. I texted you $1.99 for George C. Sack Jr. And didn't walk out with it. They had the stuff. They had Weller 12 for $4.99. I was like, or no, I'm sorry, Weller full proof. I was like, no way, no. But that was in Arlington, Texas. So anyway,
if Stag Jr. is 115, I'm probably twisting my arm.
That's $100. I'll buy it. I'll buy it for 100.
Yeah.
I'm not paying $1.99. Yeah. All right. So the Jack Daniels documentary, Chasing Whiskey. There's a lot of very interesting. Only in Tennessee are you going to see these things in that show. Very interesting individuals, very good call outs on the history of Jack Daniels itself. I'm going to admit something to you, but then I'm going to give you I want to hear your thoughts. I sat down and I said, okay, I'm going to watch this. And I started drinking Jack Daniels Barrel Proof Single Barrel, right? One of my favorite things. And I said, you know what? Let me go get a dram of Jack. And I hate to admit this so much. I'm going to do it right now. As much shit as I've talked about Jack. I love Jack Daniel's Single Barrel Proof, right? Jack is literally just a toned down version of that. And it's not bad to just sip on. It's really not. And I hate saying that. Hate it. I hate admitting it, but I'll admit when I was wrong. Maybe it's a maturity thing. Maybe it's not. Maybe it's I had the barrel proof and I could get rid of the unsavory, tastes of the regular, but it's not bad, man. It's not bad.
I have a huge smile on my face right now. But I will ask you, did you think that at the beginning, during, or end of that documentary?
It was about a third through. I finished my first dram and I said, let me go just get a dram of Jack. And it literally is, if Jack Daniel's Barrel Proof Single Barrel is dialed up to 12, Jack's dialed up to 6.
6? Oh, we're fucking best friends. Okay. So you have a bottle of Jack at your house?
Yeah.
Nice. It made it cool, right?
It did until he got into like some of the weirder pieces of Jack Daniels itself. But yeah.
Okay, so you're saying weird. That may actually have been my favorite part of the documentary. We'll talk about that in a second. It was a confirmation. So the documentary itself was okay. I will tell that. And this is going to sound snobby, but it's not. It's just what it is. They spent a lot of time on the making of whiskey. And somebody like me and you who have been to the distilleries, somebody who have watched the YouTube videos, we know how whiskey's made. The charcoal filter, that was something I had not seen before. That was cool.
I had not seen that. Yeah, I agree.
I thought it was a completely different. I pictured like pipes with charcoal lining and it gets filtered through there. That was they fill these drums up with a shitload of charcoal and it takes like 10 days to drip through them or something. That was awesome. So there was a lot of the documentary spent on that, which I knew. There was a lot of the documentary spent on like, I knew Frank Sinatra, which I can watch over and over again. Not a lot, not as much as I would have liked. The rock and roll stuff, the Slash stuff, that was cool. But you're talking about like before getting that, it just made drinking Jack Daniels cool. And then when they say things like it's the most drank whiskey in the world, which I don't know if that's true. I think Jim Beam actually may be the most drank bourbon. I'm sorry, not whiskey, but bourbon in the world.
That makes sense.
But you go back. It took me on a time machine. When you were in college, you drank cheap shit. But if you showed up with Jack Daniels, you were cool. Like the guys were going to want to hang out with you. The guys were going to take pulls of it. You were going to kill it. I had a lot of my best conversations when we were killing a bottle of Jack. I've had a very influential conversation with an individual when we killed a bottle of Jack. Like, there's a lot of things. And then that led me like into, let me play some Frank Sinatra while I drink Jack Daniels. Let me have a glass, 2 fingers, Jack, straight, done. So that was the cool part of it. I'm not a big Eric Church fan. I did get some appreciation.
There was too much Eric Church.
Not really. I mean, it
Yes.
wasn't too long. I appreciated him a little bit more. But are you talking about like the weird stuff? Are you talking about like the what are you talking about when you say that?
So when I say the weird stuff, I think more
Are you talking about like the nearest green stuff? Like that he had
No. I love that. I love the fact that the Jack executives sat there and took a step back and said, okay, thank you for bringing this to me. How do we do this right? How do we make it
okay,
right?
I'm glad you went there.
Any criticism
That was my
otherwise
favorite
is
part.
wrong.
I wish there was more of that history.
Because you can go to the store and pick up Uncle Nearest.
Yes.
And I really think it's just them pulling off a historical figure. But the fact that I didn't realize Jack Daniels was 5'2". I didn't realize he was the 10th child and he was basically neglected. And his mom died when he was 4 months old. I had no idea behind that. A lot of that was really cool. The weird stuff was like, why did they interview that one dude's daughter and she had to talk about her boyfriend being kin? That had no relevancy to the entire story.
It did. That showed how
because it's
Lynchburg
very Tennessee.
Was. I'm sorry, not Lynchburg, right? No.
Yeah, Lynchburg. No, it's Lynchburg. It's too tight. Too tight.
No, and that was a definition of like, oh shit, everybody knows everybody in this small ass town, but this is the largest, like it is one of the most world renowned, like crazy. I think that's what it was doing.
Yeah. I get it. I get what their point they were trying to drive home. They also I liked the nuance of that specific case leaving.
Yes.
Jack Daniel's distillery. Yes. And then at the end of the episode or the end of the show, made it all Australia.
No, as a history buff, I love the nearest screen. I love the documents. I love when they went into the files and they, with the white gloves, opened up and like showed Jack Daniels. I wish there was more of that. I needed less process and more of that.
History, yeah.
Yeah, which with Jack Daniels, I'm sure they could have done a shitload of.
And I'm sure it was intentional to like track that case all the way to the Outback. But take a step back, and how different are the people in the Outback drinking it in the bar versus the people in Tennessee and Lynchburg drinking it?
I guarantee you.
They have a lot in common.
That they both can kick my ass. There's no doubt about it. No doubt about it. All right. So the obvious question. What did you enjoy more?
I would say I enjoyed the Chasing Whiskey documentary more overall. But my favorite character out of both series was the guy who actually stole the whiskey and ran the little enterprise.
You didn't like the two brothers?
Dude, like, could you be more identical? And then I thought and this is one thing that kind of bothered me and it irked me a little bit is, would you drink anything other than Jack Daniels? No, why would you?
They're drinking other things than Jack Daniels.
Yeah, but they're just like an arrogant thing to say. And I get you work there.
No.
I don't know that they are, dude. I don't know that they are.
If I went up to you and I was like, are you watching anything other than A&M football? And you're on national television for an A&M documentary, what do you say?
Yes.
You're full of shit. You're full of shit. You're full of shit. I picture you like
you know me better than that.
We only watch Notre Dame in this house. Like, no, you're full of shit.
You know me better than that.
Yeah, but not. Yeah, but there's a camera on you, and it's an A&M documentary.
Jack Daniels, 40-year employee. Do you drink anything else? Yeah, I'm a Jim Beam drinker.
All right, so I'll keep this simple for you. The bourbon heist, B-.
Okay.
The Chasing Whiskey Jack Daniels documentary, that was a B+ for me.
Okay. I will do B- on the heist. I will do A- on the Jack Daniels.
I enjoyed it very much. I enjoyed the Jack Daniels. It if anything, it definitely made me want to
go there.
Relation. Yeah, I love Jack Daniels, but we've had this conversation before.
I know. But here's where it changed it for me. I've never wanted to go Lynchburg. I've never wanted to go that distillery tour. Now I do.
I agree. I like what. Yeah, I do agree with you there. there's just so much, like the fact it's a dry area and this and that. It's awesome. And then they show the views of the mountains, and it kind of reminded me of the show Moonshine that I used to be.
Yeah, Moonshiners. Discovery
I
Channel.
used to watch it like crazy. I have not watched it in about 6-7 years.
I did like when they
had Climax whiskey, but
Old Smoky. I've had that a couple times.
Old Smoky's more of a vodka.
Yeah, well, that's fair. The one thing that I thought was the most entertaining the entire segment is when they went 12 miles outside of Lynchburg to the nearest bar, right? And they had those three employees.
Those guys were fucking awesome.
They were, but they put like all the whiskey in front of them, and they couldn't pick the right one.
Well, they on their own Jack though down, right?
Yeah, but they like the blind taste.
But they gave them like Jack, a Scotch, and like a Japanese
whiskey. Yeah, exactly.
That, like if anybody who drinks whiskey can't identify that, like I was like, really?
I did like.
Why don't you give them Jack, Jim, and like
Evan
Wild Turkey? Yeah, something.
Yeah. I did like the fact that they took the barrels and they explain the whole what happens after the barrels are used and the coopering's done and they send them over. It made me really kind of wonder though.
Did you not know that before?
No, I did, but I thought there was more of like a direct process because it sounds like they take any bourbon barrel, so it makes me kind of It makes me wonder like, why doesn't Glen Moray or one of those do we're doing like a Jack Daniel's specific batch, because they don't do single barrels, they do small batch pretty much, right?
Right.
But it sounds like they're mixing it all together, but it has a Jim Beam cask has to taste different than a Jack Daniel's finished cask. Why are they not like pulling those partnerships together and
saying this is I don't know, it may just be that it has to, but then again, maybe they just get like a shitload of barrels from like such a diverse group of companies. Yeah. But then it makes you think like, I bragged about that Glenmorangie 12 that was aged in bourbon barrels, and you're like, that's
how many different bourbon barrels? How many different brands?
Or that's like all of them.
Well, anything but Jack, unless they're technically Jack's a bourbon. Technically,
not according to them.
Yeah, that
was a curveball.
I feel like that was a point of contention. I don't know. It's still a bourbon.
They're like, what doesn't make us a bourbon is this.
And we run it through all this burnt wood. Yeah,
I thought you fought to be called a bourbon, but
no, they're Tennessee whiskey. All right,
both great documentaries. If you love whiskey, grab a glass, watch it. It's awesome.
Don't put it on mute though. You want to hear those accents? They are grade A. All right. So overall rating on these, man. What do you got?
I'm gonna go the easy way out. B+ palate, B+ nose, B+ glass. You fit in the $52.
That's a bit pricey for B+, bro.
It is a B+ though. That's what keeps it a B+. It's not.
So the price keeps it a B+, or it's a B+ at $52.
It's like that's what. Oh, we're getting into those later drams. I think overall it is where it is. I would not buy it again at $52.
Fair enough. It's a $35 bottle.
40.
Okay, fair enough.
$40. But even at $40, I think it would still be a B+.
So RussBreed, I'm gonna land a B+ overall. I mean, the nose is amazing. Taste falls flat, palate falls flat. Maybe just the third, fourth ram talking. But if I put these together, I think Russell 10 year is what, a $43, $45 bottle. What is Rare Breed, around the same?
50, I think.
Okay. So average two together, it's a $45, $48 bottle, somewhere in there. Would I pay $45, $48? If this was something readily available on the shelf, I pay $40 for it. I think pushing the $50 mark, to your point, is a bit much, but I paid worse for less. So
what was the grade?
I'd say B+.
So my question: would you rather have Russell Reserve, and would you pick Russell Reserve by itself Rare Breed by itself over this?
I think they're different experiences.
So
Maybe.
would you pick them?
I think I take Russell Reserve 10 over this, but not Rare Breed.
Okay. Good answer.
I will tell you something that fell short for me recently was the Russell's 13, though. And I've seen that going
the blue label.
Yeah, I've seen that going for like $2.99 secondary. It's stupid. That's a $50 bottle.
I will eventually get to Whiskey Cake or somewhere, and I will try it. But
I remember it's sour and punchy. I'm like,
I'll still try it.
Oh no, it's worth a try.
You know what I almost grabbed instead of Four Roses? Green Dot.
Oh, you almost went Irish on me without telling me, you little bastard.
But dude, I just can't.
We have to make a commitment to each other.
Right, but it was $50, right?
Kind of pricey.
It's not. No, that's not the point. Because this was $52. It's the whole 80 proof.
Yeah, I know. No, it's proof for $1, right? It's like, how fucked up is this gonna get me?
No, it just won't. And I'm like,
I know.
Like I was walking to the cash register and I was like, 80 proof. Like,
but it comes in a cool tin can.
It does, but yeah, I may eventually give it a try. I don't know.
I feel like it's one of those that you and I need to buy together, so we don't feel bad about it. And then if we could be like,
dude, a lot of big time comedians are coming to San Antonio and Houston. I think we will eventually have to check out those together.
Count me in, bro.
All right. Well, let's get over that goal line.
Let's do it.
Okay, so we talked everything and anything. We talked Olympics. We talked NBA finals. We chimed into the documentaries that we've watched. We talked about conference realignment. We thank you so much for listening. And if you want to continue to listen and you want to continue to tell your buddies about us, please listen to the following as Dick chimes in on what our socials are.
You can hit us up on all your social media platforms, including Instagram and Twitter at 4th Dram. That's 4th Dram. Our website at 4thdramandgold.com. They have a link direct link to all of our podcasts, as well as Facebook at 4th Dram and Goal. And then always, old reliable, the Dodge Stratus that won't die at your mom's house, 4th Dram and Goal at gmail.com.
Your mom's house.
Your mom. So, yeah, of course, tell your friends about us, rate and review us on all your favorite podcast streaming apps, Apple Podcasts, Audible, CastBox, Podcast Addicts, wherever you're listening to this podcast today, you can find us. So with that said, Kurt, right back at you for the quote of the episode.
I've got the one, the only. We've talked about the Olympics. One of the greatest American Olympians of all time.
Preach.
Carl Lewis. He may not be able to sing the national anthem, but he had some quotes. And he said, if you don't have confidence, you'll always find a way to not win. Find a way to win. Have some confidence. Go out. Challenge your day. To the next nap and the next dram.
Drink on, Drammers.